let's make some curry jackfruit that you could pair with rice or some roti, whatever you like. So I am starting off with just boiling the jackfruit. After I boil it, I probably boil it for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then I just add it with some seasonings. So these are the seasonings I've used. And then I just mix it all up together. And once it's all mixed, I will be frying it just so it could just brown up a little bit. And yeah, so I'm just frying it here. So once it's all fried up, I just take it out and I just put it in the same bowl that it was in prior. After that, I will then start burning some curry. So the only thing here is that I ran out of the Beta Pack curry, which is the one that I like. And I had to use some Grace, or I think it was a Grace's curry mixture as well. So I just used up whatever I had for the curry that I liked, which is the Beta Pack. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then I added some Grace curry as well, and I'm just frying it up. There wasn't a whole lot of oil in the pan, so I did add a little bit of water to the mixture, just so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. So yeah, I just fried up. I'd probably say I fried up for like 5 minutes or so. You don't want to burn it, but you just want to fry it up just a little bit. So now that it's been about 5 minutes just frying up, I'm going to add in some onions. I also add in some garlic as well. I did add the jar garlic, so fresh is best, but I honestly did not want to cut up any garlic, so I just did the jar garlic. And I just added a bit of that in there as well. And I just mix it up, just fry it up for a bit before I add in all the other ingredients. So next up, I got some sweet peppers. So I got some red, some green, and some scallion, also known as green onions. And I just cut all that up and I throw that in there. And then I just mix it up. Usually once I add something in, I try to like mix it right away, just so everything can get all the flavors. So I just mix all that up. While that's cooking, I then was chopping up some tomatoes, And I'm gonna add the tomatoes in there as well. And then again, mix all that up. So every inch has a little bit of taste of the curry. So after just mixing in the tomatoes, I just let that cook for a little bit, about 5 minutes. And then I get some chickpeas, which is rinsed. So I don't use any of the water from the can. So I just rinse it out and then I just throw it in there and mix it all up together. Again, because I'm doing everything as it goes, I haven't chopped any of these prior. I usually let it sit for about 5 minutes while I'm cutting or opening up cans in between. And then I just mix all that up together. I then added in 1 can of Grace coconut milk. You could use any kind of coconut milk, I'm pretty sure. And I just used 1 can, and then again, I'm just gonna mix that around. I did also add some water in the can because you have a little bit of the coconut milk residue. So I just put a bit of water in there and then I pour that in the pot. One thing is for sure is I like my curry to be have a little bit more on the liquid side. So I do add a little bit extra liquid in there. So as you can see, I added some lentils because I like the lentils when it cooks out because it thickens it a little bit too. And then I added the jackfruit next, and then I mix everything up together. So there was some extra seasoning that was in the bowl that I had the jackfruit in. So I did add some water in there and shaking up the bowl a little bit to get all the seasoning out. And I poured it inside the pot. And then now I'm just adding my seasoning. So I'm just adding some thyme, some more scallion. Just adding all that stuff up there. I'm adding some carrots in there as well. I do add powder seasoning, which will be coming up shortly. So now I'm gonna add in some Scotch bonnet. So I just cut it up to the point where there is just the flesh. I don't really like to get too much seeds because once you add the seeds, that's when it starts getting spicy. And because my kids are gonna be eating it as well, I don't want it to be too spicy. Couple seeds are good, but you don't want the whole thing to be in there. And then I add in my dry seasonings. As you can see here, this is just kind of what I use in the pot. When it comes to the chicken Maggi, you don't have to use specifically chicken Maggi. If you have just a vegetable Maggi seasoning, then you can add that in there as well. And then I just cook it up. I want to say I probably cooked it up for about 20 minutes, about 20 minutes or so. I just cooked it covered. And then I have red potatoes. I don't usually use red potatoes, but it's the only thing that I had. So I just added that in there. And I usually use russet potatoes, but it was okay. I don't really think there is a difference when it comes to the potatoes. So I just add that in there and mix it all up and let it cook down a little bit more. So at this point, it just comes down to you just tasting it to see what it needs. Does it need a little bit of extra of this? So that's just what it comes down to. I did add a little bit extra black pepper and a little extra pinch of salt because I thought I needed that. But other than that, that's pretty much it that I added. I thought everything else brought up the flavor that I've added previously. like I said, I like my curry to be a little bit on the looser side when it comes to having a little bit more water, especially because I like to eat my curry with roti. So, and what I do is like I break it up and I like scoop it with my hands, if you know what I'm talking about. But that's what I like to do. Some people like not so much of a watery curry, and it is what it is. You just don't add so much water to it. I did add another whole scotch bonnet just because I wanted a little bit extra flavor in as well. So I did add that to it. And then yeah, right now it's just cooking it down until I think it's good at my right consistency. So here it is, my curry jackfruit with chickpeas and then roti. So I ended up buying the paratha instead of making it because it was just gonna be too much work. But yeah, here it is, you guys.